What's going on, YouTube? Chris here. I want to bring you all an update of an article that I found, and then we're going to be looking at a little bit of technical analysis as well. And what this goes on to say is institutions are coming for your Bitcoins as USDC whales make massive deposits on Coinbase. This is by CoinGape.com. I'm not going to butcher this guy's name. You can see it here. We'll just call him BA. And what it goes on to say is crypto analyst King Young Ju points out that USDC whales have been making massive deposits at the Coinbase exchange. He notes that whenever this happens, Bitcoin price continues to rally further. He goes on to say, I think USDC whales on a Coinbase know how to play. Whenever these whales deposit to Coinbase, the BTC price is likely to go up. There are deposits from USDC whales recently. I think it could be one of the bullish chart signals. The analyst notes that Coinbase has registered a large number of OTC deals since mid-2020. A majority of the OTC deals are made by institutional investors or high-net individuals. He notes that most of these investors have been using the dollar-pegged Coinbase stablecoin. And what I wanted to point out, this is something that we've talked about for quite a long time, even back when the price was $3,000. The reason why I've always believed in Bitcoin, and I love to trade Bitcoin, but the reason why I believe in it, guys, is because of that set supply and those halvings and the deflationary aspect of it. That's what I love. With the governments just printing money with nothing to back it, it's just a big smoke screen. Bitcoin, it's completely different. It's the exact opposite of the dollar. And that's what I love about it. But when you look at this here and you realize that only so many people in the world are going to be able to hold one Bitcoin or a half a Bitcoin or whatever. All these institutions are trying to buy up as many as they can. And what's happening is this institutional FOMO is happening. And then what happens after that, in my opinion, will be the retail FOMO. So we haven't really even seen that yet. But that's what's happening. These institutions, they're seeing another institution just picked up this amount of Bitcoin. They're saying, oh, I have to get some. And it just builds and builds and builds. And that's what we're experiencing right now. And in the shorter term, whenever we have these corrections or consolidations, sometimes they can be corrections. Sometimes we can just move sideways and consolidate. They're not that long. On average, it's about 11 days when we do get these corrections. And I did a video, it was probably about a week ago, and it talked all about the corrections and breaking down the average of those for you and how many days they'll be. But we're going to continue to move to the upside here. The main thing you want to pay attention to is staying up above that 200 moving average on the 1-day time frame. As long as we're up above that, we're doing great. And so far, we've been up above the 20, the 50, the 100, and the 200. So Bitcoin's been looking really good. But I wanted to continue. The next thing I wanted to point out, the slowdown in USDT borrowing suggests short-term correction. So we've talked about that, and I'll show you on the charts here. You know, in the shorter term, we may correct a little bit, but overall, guys, we'd say short-term a little bit more bearish. We got some divergences, negative divergence happening on the 4-hour time frame. A little more bearish in the short term, but in the mid to longer term, extremely bullish. And then right here, while Ki Young Ju points at the USDC deposits at Coinbase, Alish Muskie, founder of crypto wallet Celsius Network, hints at drying up of USDT. He thus suggests waiting a bit before chipping in the recent FOMO. He says buying BTC at these levels, be careful. After 1 billion in short positions liquidated and Bitcoin being the topic of the day on every news channel, many buy Bitcoin on margin. We see a slowdown in USDT borrow, which will lead to lower prices. So pause to give yourself a better entry point. And that's good advice there. You know, you don't never want to FOMO into anything. You want to look for the best buying opportunity that you can. But Bitcoin, guys, just gets so explosive, and that's the thing. That's why you always want a little bit of it when you're in the bull market, because it's going to be that leader of the market, and then it'll branch out into those altcoins. So always pay attention to that. What we're going to do next here, so I just want to point that article out to you there. We're going to look at Bitcoin on the 4-hour time frame. We're still up above the 20, the 50, the 100, and the 200 moving average. But what you can see, this was the divergence we were talking about here. So price was going up, relative strength. You can see right there, have a bit of a short-term downtrend. So I want you to be aware of that volume drying up. If we do make a move to the upside, we need to get up over top of 24,225 would be the overhead resistance. To the downside, it's going to be our 20 EMA there, and that's going to be at $22,904. Then it'd be down around 22,200, and then I'd look at around 21,543. But whenever you're in these uptrends and you see these corrections here or these retracements, those are buying opportunities. Whenever you're in an uptrend, that's when you want to be buying the dip. You don't want to be buying the dip when you're in bear markets unless you're just trading a quick reaction. This is the time though, when you see those big dips, these retracements right here where they can be up to 20 to 30%, that's when you want to be going long in the Bitcoin space. So essentially what that guy from the article was saying is at this spot right here, he's anticipating some type of retracement, maybe even back to that 19,710. Doesn't have to happen, but if it does, that would be a great buying opportunity. Now, if we bounce out to the 1 day time frame, I always like to look at the 1 day. What we have going on right now, if this candle closed how it is right here, this would be almost like a hanging man candle, but we're going to have to wait for the daily candle close. That's what you're looking for. Yesterday's candle, we had a little bit of a wick on the top here. I always like to measure them, pay attention to those. So it was roughly about 1.82%. Typically when we get wicks 3% or above, that's really going to show you that the local bottom or top's in. So I like to look for those. The RSI on the 1 day is at 76. As you know, we can get up into the high 80s. But right now we're getting a little bit of a hook here. I want you to be aware of that. So if at the end of the day you see some high volume, a hanging man, and you start to see this moving to the downside, losing some relative strength, I would anticipate some type of cooling down period and look for a great buying opportunity. On the 1 day time frame, our volatility stop would be at 21,890. And our 20 EMA there would be back around 20,439. If we get into the technicals for Bitcoin, we're looking at a 5 sell, 5 neutral, 18 buy. The moving averages are looking very strong, but what you can see on the oscillators here, commodity index channel is going to be a sell, momentum is going to be a sell, the stock RSI is going to be a sell, and the Williams percentage range is going to be a sell. So basically what this is doing is just breaking down all those oscillators for you and showing you, like relative strength index, they still have it in the neutral right there, stochastic K 92, and it'll break it down. Is that neutral? Is it a buy or is it a sell? So I always like to look at that. It can really help you. But those are the main areas I would look at here, guys. If you get some from this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I really appreciate everyone who's helped out this channel. In the last video, we ended up getting over 300 likes, and it can't be done without you guys. So I'm really appreciative of that. I thank you. And as you go through today, you know, Bitcoin Cash is really taking off. You got a few that are making some big moves. So keep an eye on it, guys. God bless you all. Take care.